Hello, and thanks for joining us today. We're going to be talking about cyber essentials. I'm Richard Hughes, Head of Cyber Security Division at NOIT Group, and I'm lucky to be joined by Paul CRUMPTON of the IASME Consortium. Paul, hi, thanks for joining me. Would you like to introduce yourself and IASME?
Hi, Richard. Yes, thank you. Well, IASME is an SME based in Malvern, and it provides effective and affordable certifications for businesses and organisations to help them prevent cyber attacks and fraud. So my role as business relationship manager is one to introduce organisations to that concept of cybersecurity, but also to chart out routes that they can take if this is something that they don't fully understand or have never really implemented before, routes that they can take to actually achieve a basic standard of cybersecurity. So that's me.
Thanks a lot, Paul. So let's just jump back to basics a little bit. So what is cybersecurity? So I'm going to throw a definition out there. You may agree, you may disagree. So it's the technology, the processes and the controls that help an organization avoid a cyber attack. So ultimately it's protecting, your laptops, your servers, your desktops, your mobiles. But some of those things might be password strength, patching your software. Would you sort of broadly agree with that?
Absolutely. And it's all designed, of course, to protect that one vital piece that you hold as a business in the digital world, and that's data, personal data, business data, client data, supplier data, all that sort of stuff. It's to stop the crook easily accessing that, and that's what cybersecurity is about.
Absolutely. So one of the issues we find from clients is they don't know what all those steps are. They don't know what the processes are. They don't know what the controls are. There can be so many of them. And I think really that's why we're here to talk today, which brings us to the next question. What is Cyber Essentials?
Okay, well, Cyber Essentials is the name of a cybersecurity scheme. It's the government's supported basic minimum standard for cybersecurity. It's owned by the National Cybersecurity Centre, the NCSC, and we're very proud and very fortunate, ASME, to be the sole delivery partner for that scheme on behalf of the National Cybersecurity Centre across the UK. So what does it include? It includes a set of 5 basic standards, 5 things, 5 elements that you can implement on your systems, whatever that looks like. So you may be sat there as a sole trader with a laptop and a mobile phone. That might be your infrastructure. You might be sat there with hundreds, if not thousands. But the principles are the same. It's about looking after your devices and ensuring they're in the main up to date and supported. And then there are another number of other elements within that, which I won't go into at this stage, but they follow a logical step to achieve a basic level of cybersecurity.
Absolutely. So we often are talking about cybersecurity and cyber essentials specifically with our clients, particularly new clients that we haven't necessarily worked with before. And we mentioned this and they say, oh, I don't think that applies to me. I'm not working with government and, we're too small, we're quite tiny. So, who would you say Cyber Essentials scheme is for?
It's for organisations and businesses of all sizes. Clearly, it was designed for SMEs. And it's fair to say that some larger companies, because of the sheer size of their digital estate, do find it challenging to achieve, but not impossible. But really, it is from a micro sole trader right the way through to whatever size organisation you may represent.
Yeah, fantastic. We work with some independent healthcare providers who are just essentially sole traders. But the wealth of private information that they're actually holding, they really do have a responsibility to look after that. And the steps are the same as a larger enterprise. So I think that's really useful information that you've got to have the same controls, whether you're a one-man band or a international enterprise. That's fantastic. So what are the benefits, though?
Well, you yourself as the organisation, if you implement those measures within the Cyber Essentials scheme, are certainly far more secure, and you lift yourself out of the majority of common commodity-based cyber attacks. You can demonstrate that's demonstrable to your clients and potential clients. It's more and more being required within the private sector, and any contract with government it's mandated for in any case. So the benefit, and I guess at this point it'd be worth saying that more and more insurance providers are asking many questions in relation to your cybersecurity profile. Some indeed are asking if you have cyber essentials. And we mustn't forget that within this personal data that we all talk about, this data, which is what it's all designed to protect, the Information Commissioner is very clear that they'll look to companies to see whether they've applied the principles of the Cyber Essentials scheme, if indeed they're called to look at a particular company because there's been a breach. So the number of drivers, some of them mandatory, some of them regulatory, but equally we're seeing more and more applications from businesses that themselves want to become more secure.
And I think it's probably worth mentioning that for perhaps more important to smaller businesses, but there is a free insurance that's available.
Yes, and if you go through the Cyber Essentials process, which is a self-assessment where you answer a number of questions, a member of the board signs those answers to those questions off as being true and accurate. That then assessment goes to a what we call a certification body. So a company like A&O IT Group, where a person like Richard, an assessor, will assess the answers given against the standard. And at that point, providing the whole company's was in scope of that Cyber Essentials assessment, and the assessor has said, yeah, everything has been complied with, the certificate would be issued, and there would be cover of insurance at no extra cost.
And I think it's worthwhile mentioning. Obviously, you mentioned the questionnaire, and I think coming back to my earlier point of I mentioned that there's processes controls, and there are many of them, and not everybody knows what they are. That questionnaire guides you through those processes and controls. I think it serves as a reminder if you knew them, or as a learning exercise if you didn't. But if you go through that questionnaire and complete it, then you are on your way to becoming a more secure business. I think that's fair to say.
Absolutely, and I'll be frank. If you park the certification side of it first of all, then at least implement the measures. And so IASME have produced a Cyber Essentials readiness tool. Now this is completely free from the website, and this is again a set of questions which doesn't result in you receiving a certificate, but what it does, it talks you through in less technical language the process. You answer some of those questions in aligned with your business, and at the end you get a bespoke package of recommendations that you need to implement. Or if you're lucky, it says, well done, you can apply for Cyber Essentials certification. But in the main, it identifies one large thing, one big thing, and that is that a lot of companies reason for non-compliance, for not achieving a Cyber Essentials standard, would be that they're actually using unsupported software. And I think I just want to, if I may, Richard, just labour this point for a moment, and that is, when we talk about unsupported software, what that means is you might be running a system that has long since stopped being supported by the original manufacturer. I don't want to name any names, but even those on at the top of this tree stop supporting software at certain times. And if you're doing that, because it's not supported, it isn't having security holes filled, security updates are not being provided. And it's at that point that the CRUP can access your system. If they find out what those vulnerabilities are, and therefore what Cyber Essentials says is you must have supported up-to-date software. So it's the biggest single reason for non-compliance with the scheme. And I would just emphasize that if you're, particularly as a business startup, if you're looking at where to put that valuable cash or variable investment in terms of where your business is going, please include your digital estate in that and ensure that you're looking at up-to-date devices and particularly up-to-date software. Sorry for going on, Richard.
No, not at all, not at all. And I absolutely concur with that. I mean, that's exactly what we see. And often, particularly with mobile phones as well, because they don't consider that to be a machine. It's just this device you've got in your pocket that does everything for you and has access to all your emails.
I think on that point, I would say whatever device you've got, if it connects to business data, it would be within scope of the Cyber Essentials scheme. So you have to really think about, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. You need to think about the mobile phone. If it's accessing your business data, it would be within scope of the Cyber Essentials scheme. And it's very important, therefore, to protect that data.
Absolutely. I think the other benefit for me is just that demonstration that you are taking things seriously. Whether you're actually in a position to pass today or whether you're working towards it. I think that, internally to your board, for instance, or to your partners, your clients, that you are demonstrating and taking that security seriously. We actually had a client speaking with us the other day, and they didn't know anything about Cyber Essentials, never even heard of it. And they said that their board had said, well, we have auditors into the business and they look through all our accounts, but nobody actually looks through our IT systems. We need to have someone provide some kind of audit to actually prove that we're doing the right things. And they said, we don't know where to start. And I said, Cyber Essentials. And I explained it to them exactly what it was. And suddenly, this light bulb came on. And I think that's exactly what we need. And it will demonstrate that you have followed those basic set of controls on your way to a reasonable security posture.
And again, that's a really nice lead into that. So there were two elements of Cyber Essentials, and that is the what I will call the basic self-assessment, and then there's Cyber Essentials Plus. And the Plus is exactly the same as I described previously. It's still a self-assessment, independently verified by a certification body. But the plus side then kicks in, and that is that assessor will ask to see a proportion of the digital assets to ensure compliance, or policies to ensure compliance with the scheme. So that's when you're moving in from the basic minimum guidance to include an audit that does physically take place. And I think that's important, and more we're seeing more and more companies are looking at that particular part of the Cyber Essentials scheme as being their preference.
It's a really interesting point you raised there, actually, because I was talking to a company the other day, and they said, well, we think we're going to go for Cyber Essentials fairly soon, but we're really not ready for Cyber Essentials Plus yet. And I said to them, if you're ready for Cyber Essentials, you're ready for Cyber Essentials Plus.
Absolutely. It's identical. It's identical.
It's absolutely identical. You just have to have somebody verify that that's fact. So, and I think it's important. And as with anything, if people want to cheat the system with a self-certified questionnaire, a self-filled questionnaire, they can do. Of course they can, if they know what the right answer is and they put the right answer down. But I think, as we were told back in the day at school, it's only yourself you're fooling. And if you're really serious about a good security posture and you can fill that in and you'd be happy with your answers and you pass the Cyber Essentials, you're 100% ready for Cyber Essentials Plus. So I think, sorry, did you want to?
No, I was just going to concur what you said there, and only say that, the whole idea of this is to make you your company, and the UK a safe place to do business. So that's the driver, that's the aim, and the more we can encourage people to at least think about it. Now, whether the certification is something that they achieve or not, again, I've already said, park that for a second, just implement the measures. Not just say that you have them, implement the measures, and that will make you and the people that you do business with, from supplier to client, a whole lot safer.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's important that you do this for your business as well, not for anybody else's business. So we know that if you are working with government, you're going to have this. More and more private organisations, as you said earlier, Paul, are requiring their suppliers to have this. And so yes, you may be forced to have it at some stage, but don't wait until then. Do it for your business, improve the security posture of your business. And you may not see the reward on the bottom line, but you are protecting yourself as best you can at that point. So I think the other thing that probably a lot of people are thinking right now is this is going to be expensive. And I think we probably should mention that this starts with a cost of £300, which I don't think there's anything out there that's similar that you could do for your business to demonstrate your security posture for less money. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, you're right, and it's been for micro companies, it remains £300, and it's been that figure for or since 2014, and that was crucial in keeping that figure as low as possible to encourage, as opposed to discourage, take up of the scheme. Since January this year, there's been a slight variation for small, medium, and large companies. It goes up in £50-ish amounts. Up to a large company would be charged £500 for the certification. But like I've said already, if we just park that certification first of all, the real value is in what you implement to get to that point of being able to achieve CE, as we call it. That's the real value, and then
Yeah,
the certification.
100%.
The certification is the demonstrable aspect.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Really couldn't agree more. And I think it's probably worth mentioning that if you do go through the Cyber Essentials readiness tool, and you think you're ready, and you go through an assessment and you're not successful, there is a free retest for the Cyber Essentials as well.
There is.
So you do get an option to actually fix things, and you get a free retest as well. So speak to us. We're obviously happy to give some free advice as well. I know, Paul, that you're always happy to help as well, and you'll take calls and help people through the process. But if you think you're ready, you will actually have another opportunity to get another go at it. So very worthwhile, very worthwhile. So moving on from there is probably the other question that I kind of see come back, but it's going to be complex, isn't it? And I think, what we say is it depends on your business. But I mean, the answer is no, it's not complex. If if your business is small, it's going to be the least complex for you. And of course, it will be a bit more complex if you're a large enterprise with lots and lots of infrastructure. But it's not a complex process. It's not an expensive process. And I think the rewards speak for themselves.
Absolutely. Break it down into small steps. So if again, being frank and candid, if there are people listening to this that think, it's not me, it's not, I don't understand any of this, right the way through to it's not for me, and I would argue with that, against that. It is for everybody. But if this isn't your thing, and why would it be? Then speak to companies like A&O IT, who will give you advice. On our website, on the National Cyber Security Centre website, the NCSC website, I've mentioned the readiness tool. All this is freely available advice. Break it down into small pieces. Take small steps. doing nothing will ensure that you don't stop a cyber attack. So do something, but it hasn't all got to be done by tomorrow.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
factor it into your business, factor it into your business processes, but make a start.
And I think coming back to that, it's not for me. And, even if, and I think, you've said it before, and I'm just going to reiterate again, really, that even if you don't want that certification, it actually takes you through the essential controls to protect your business. So it absolutely is for you. You may not want the certificate, you may not have a requirement for it, you may not go for it, but the actual steps to gain that certificate are essentials. There isn't anything in there that's not essential, in my mind, and you can do a lot more on top of that as well. But it absolutely is for you, because it's the controls, it's the processes, it's those steps that protect you and your business.
Yeah, and I think I'd add into that, one of the pain points that I hear is, oh, it's targeted, it's not going to affect me, it's targeted at other places. Well, let me just clear that one up. The majority of attacks are not targeted from the outset. But if you look at targeted and untargeted attacks, those are the two camps that they can sit in. They both share the same starting point as far as the crook's concerned, and the crook will look for gaps in your security.
That's a really interesting point, because sort of going off on a slight tangent, I get people that receive the SMS phishing attempts, and they go, how did they know that, I was looking for new car insurance? Or how did they know that I had that, particular brand of antivirus software? How did they know I was waiting for DHL to deliver my parcel? And they will think they've targeted me. They found that out. But I think, exactly as you've just said, they don't know. They don't know at all. They have just sent out a lot of different communications randomly. And of course, there's a number of people that are going to receive them that information just, is in perfect sync with, and they think they know that about me. But as you say, the majority of attacks are random. You generally don't know whether you're going to be hit by one tomorrow, and you need to do something today.
Absolutely.
So I think, wrapping up, I think my one piece of advice would be, don't wait. And don't wait until someone says, we're not going to work with you unless you've got cyber essentials. Don't wait till that's that urgent contract and you need to get it done by next Friday, or you'll miss the tender. Look at it now. Even if you don't go for the certification now, make sure that you are in a position to actually meet those requirements. It's for the benefit of your business. And then the badge from having the certificate is the icing on the cake. If you don't want that, but then a contract that comes along that requires you to have it, you can get that straight away. And I think the biggest issue I see is clients saying, we're going after this tender, we've got to have this, it's got to have it for 2 weeks. And then you say, well, actually you're not ready. If you'd have only come to us 3 months ago, or if you just looked at the Cyber Essentials readiness tool 3 months ago, you'd be in a better shape now. And I think that's the biggest message I can give is don't delay. And that's across the board. Anything cybersecurity, there isn't time to wait. You may be the victim of attack tomorrow.
Yes, and I think my one piece would be, don't dismiss cybersecurity. Don't think it's not going to hit you, because the flip side of that could be quite serious for you. Take small steps. The larger companies tend to have teams of people. If it's you or you and another, you haven't got that facility, that luxury. Utilize the people and the advice that are around. Speak to myself, speak to Richard, for example, look on the NCSC website, look on our own websites, talk to others, but start somewhere. Richard's kindly already, again, reminded you of the Cyber Essentials Readiness Tool. It's a great place, free, without any obligation or subscription, just to go through a set of questions and at least see where you are. At least see where you are in relation to your cyber security posture. And at that, you can make a decision.
Yep. And I'm very, very happy to have a no obligation call with anybody on any aspect of cybersecurity. And I know, Paul, that you're certainly very happy to do that for Cyber Essentials as well. So
absolutely.
I hope this has been useful for everybody. And Paul, thank you very much for joining me. And I'm sure we'll speak soon.
You're welcome. Goodbye.